next section involves civic virtue and the common good. Two terms. We use a lot of paintings to try to illustrate these points. And for the common good, doing what's best for the community as a whole. We'll take a look at how these ideas are played out in some of the paintings that we looked at.
Okay, similar to common good, the concept of civic virtue, that means putting the common good or the good of the community. You're doing that, but you're also doing it above your own self-interest. So an example of that would be the basic idea of paying taxes. That money that you pay in taxes, you could use that to spend on anything you'd want. However, you pay your taxes because it's going to be dispersed and used for some type of government service or the common good, whether it be defense or other services like hospitals or roads. But there are other examples too that we'll go through throughout the year that demonstrate how you do things that maybe don't help you at the moment, but they will help you in the end, because as you help the common good through civic virtue and do some sacrifice, it will come around and help create a better community, which in turn makes your life better.
The story Cincinnatus, and we use this painting to show a citizen of Rome who was called upon by his country to help lead his country and be victorious against the enemy. Now, knowing what we know about human nature, most people, after being victorious and given an opportunity to take power or to be a leader or to have everything that you ever wanted, most of us or people out there, we would think, would take that opportunity. Cincinnatus fights for his country, defends Rome, and says, I'm going to go back. I'm going to retire, and I'm just going to go back to my farm. I did my duty. It's in the best interest of Rome as a whole for me to step back and let the government be. We use him as a case study because in a country like ours, or in any government, we would hope that the people who are in charge possess this degree of civic virtue.
Okay, we also brought up the concept of George Washington as an example of civic virtue. How did he demonstrate this concept throughout history?
Right, very similar. People call George Washington a modern-day Cincinnatus. And in fact, there's a society called the Society of the Cincinnati, which was formed with family members related to Revolutionary War generals. If you look it up, it's pretty interesting. But going back to Washington, after the Revolutionary War, he had an opportunity to pretty much do what he wanted, control the military, and throughout history, military people have gone on to seize power. Washington, as this painting shows, hands in his military commission and retires to his farm on Mount Vernon. It wouldn't be until years later where he would be called back to serve on behalf of his country and become our first president. But the King of England even said, George III, if what he has done is true, he'll be the greatest man who ever lived. And he does rank high among our presidents in U.S. history, and certainly a modern-day Cincinnatus indeed.
And he also, once he was president, he demonstrated this again. How did he do so at the end of his presidency?
You know, in the Constitution, it didn't say originally that you have to have only a maximum of 2 terms. Washington set the precedent. So after 2 terms, he said, you know what, I'm done, stepped down. Adams became the next president. But nowhere in the original Constitution did it say you had to only serve twice. Again, stepping down for the good of the country.